everybody. I'm in the Ruby Mountains of Nevada, photographing the fall colors. As usual, I'm right off the side of the road. Sometimes just the best place to take a photograph is right off the side of the road, because the road is coming up this glacial carved canyon, and so you've got these great views up across these areas, willows, the quaking aspens out there, and the peaks in the background. Autumn is when I usually get out the most to photograph. It's just the way it is. I'll photograph here and there throughout the summer, maybe take a trip somewhere like I did this summer going to California, but autumn is when I usually spend most of my time outdoors in the mountains. The Ruby Mountains of Nevada are a beautiful glacial carved mountain range that's pretty much in the middle of nowhere. Yep, the only way to get to it is from Elko. It's one of my favorite places to come. I like coming here in the summer also. This year I didn't make it out. Last winter was a really strong winter throughout the whole West. We had storm after storm after storm come in. And driving up Lamoille Canyon today, I was really surprised at how much avalanche destruction there was. So many slides came down and just took out groves of quaking aspens. It's just pretty impressive. It's September 29th today, and there are still patches of snow up on these peaks from last year's storms. So that tells you how much snow there was in this area. So I got here a little later than I would have liked. I had a rough day yesterday and just couldn't get out of bed this morning. It is what it is. But the light is still not bad. The light is still pretty good. There's just this nice backlight. The sun hasn't got in here to me yet. So you got the backlight on the cliffs. There's not any clouds, which is problematic, but I do have a nice blue sky. So that helps. So as you can see on this one that I've got composed here, here's the live view from my camera. You can see in this composition, it's really about the mountain, the peaks back there. Like I said, the light is not as great as it should be, but it is what it is. Here's another composition that I really like, just by staying in the same spot and just moving my camera around. I'm shooting with my 70-200, which I love doing landscapes with because it gives me the latitude to really come in on the landscape and just tighten in the crop, making it a better composition. One of the things you want to do is you want to make sure you push the mountains like this up towards the top of the frame. Now I use my thirds grid inside the viewfinder to keep it in that realm, and I don't push the mountains higher than the top third simply because I want to have room for when I have a canvas made, for instance. The gallery wrap of the canvas will not chop off the top of the mountains. I like leaving just a little bit of extra space just to let the image breathe also. Another thing I really like about this image is the quaking aspens and these willows in the bottom of the frame. I really like that. That's why I chose this composition. Also, make sure to check your histogram. On a Nikon D850, I just hit the preview button and then push the center button there and make sure the histogram is looking good, that you're not blowing out the highlights and that you're not clipping the shadows. On the screen, don't trust your LCD screen. Your LCD screen lies. It's not accurate for color, for exposure, or anything. It'll give you a general idea, but always use the histogram to see what's going on. This is the same basic composition as my previous image, but I've zoomed in a little bit more, taking out the foreground of the willows and just bringing in those quaking aspens and pines that are in the back and that hillside and the mountain peaks, making it really just be about the mountains. This is one of the images that you can really see. You can really see well the patch of snow still back in there. As I've said before in other videos, a lot of this is exploring. Just get out and explore. Drive along the road looking for compositions or for scenes like this. Get out and hike. This is not a trip where I had much time to go hiking, so I just decided to just come in here in the morning and just drive the road and see what I could find. You never know what you're going to get, but you got to just look around. You got to really just pay attention, put a longer lens on, and zoom in and find compositions that are just isolating very specific things in the larger landscape. As you get out and explore and hike along, stop and look all around you. Make sure to watch behind you. You might miss a great scene if you're not looking back behind you, and just keep swiveling your head. Always just watch where you're going and pay attention to everything around you. This is more than one reason. For photography, definitely, so you don't miss shots, but also it helps you from not getting lost. Watching your back trail so you know what it looks like when you're going back, and paying attention to exactly where you are is the key to not getting lost. Of course, in this situation, I'm right by the road, so I'm not going to get lost. But I hiked a couple people back up into the mountains one day. It was very heavy lodgepole pines, and we hiked back into this spot that I knew of. We got back in there, and I said to them, "All right, which way's the truck?" They had no clue. They had no idea how to get back to the truck. And we had marked it with our GPSs, and I said, "It's that way." And they said, "No, it's not. It's that way." One said it's that way. One said it's that way. I'm like, "No, it's that way." No, they argued with me. I said, "Turn on your GPS." And the one guy was like, "Holy crap. I thought I was paying attention, but you're right." And I'm like, "Yeah." And as we walked back, I walked us on the exact same path I had taken in. I said, "Look, there's our footprints." They're like, "How did you do that?" And I'm like, "Because I watched behind me as I hiked, and I was looking for things like this specific boulder, that tree that's fallen over." Note little things like that while you're hiking, so on your way out, you can see them and know you're on the right path. Another trick is when you found a composition you like, take it, but then poke around a little bit more with the same basic composition, but looking for different versions of the same composition. So what I did is I've walked only about maybe 100 feet from where I was up onto this big boulder here, and it's given me some elevation. It's also allowed me to compose with this nice little quake and aspen grove that caught my attention in the image off to the left. So it's brought in some more color that's closer. In this composition, you can see I've got layers of the willows in the foreground, quake and aspens, and then more quake and aspens in back, and then the mountains. So look for things like that, and look for layers in the subject if you can find them. Isn't this just gorgeous? The only thing that ruins this whole thing is the road coming up through it. I'll Photoshop it out of my shots just to keep them, try to make them more pristine. But that's the only thing that really ruins this whole canyon is the road. This is looking straight behind me. Look at that. Those peaks there, I love those. I've got shots of those that I've done in years gone by. Look at that light. The sun is just shining down through them. Just amazing. Well, the light's pretty much gone because I got here so late. As I was driving over here, the sunrise was amazing. There were some high, thin clouds, and it just was just gorgeous yellow and orange and red. And I'm like, oh, crap, I'm missing that. When I got in here, the light was pretty much not perfect any longer, but it was still good enough to work with for, you know, to get some very specific stuff. And you can always concentrate just on the quaking aspens that are in the shadows and, you know, get great shots of some of the groves. So with the light about going, I'm going to leave. I've got about a 4.5 hour drive to get home, and I got to get back. Oh, that smells good. The fall, I wish you could smell this. The fall leaves, when they change and they start to fall off the trees, and that just, it's got such a wonderful smell in here. Get out and explore, and if you live in an area like the Rocky Mountains or areas where there's forests, fall is the perfect time to do it. It's when a lot of people get out to photograph. The funny thing is, I was going to come in here and backpack to a spot I really like, but I didn't want to bother because the weather forecast showed for no clouds, just blue skies, and I was like, I don't want to hike back in there to just get mediocre shots. Maybe I'm getting lazy, but if you've got to watch the weather, you've got to pay attention to what's going on to get those really good shots. These that I got today are not going to be amazing. They're pretty good, but they're not spectacular. What can really make or break a shot is one with nice clouds in it. So pay attention to the weather and watch and plan your trips around storms that are coming in or storms that are leaving. That's usually when I love to get out the most. So I really wanted to hike in there, but I was just like, it's just, you know, and I'm busy with other things, and I've got some health issues, and I wasn't sure I could even backpack in there carrying my camera gear, so I'm rambling. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little episode. Get out and explore, have fun, and take lots of photographs, and happy trails. Here's another scene I found along the stream right up at the end of the road where the outhouses are. Really like this. The sun is just starting to come over the mountain in the east, and it's going to light this up really nice. I like what I got already, but I'm going to sit here and see what else I can get. Here's a great find with that little waterfall and that peak in the background. Look at that. The trees on this side in the frame, really like how this turned out.